MMA Oddsbreaker. I'm here with Tyron Woodley, actually getting ready for his fight against Rory MacDonald coming up here at UFC 174. What are you doing right now? You in the middle of eating lunch?
I'm finished.
You're finishing lunch.
We at this place called Sharpshooter. Yeah, we had Sharpshooter Pit and Grill. So we're gonna eat some barbecue first, and then we're gonna go down there and sleepy, almost lackadaisical shoot this rifle downstairs. So
What? Is barbecue on your diet? Like, how are you doing keep in shape?
I've been training pretty hard. I kind of earned this barbecue today, so
okay.
I'm actually eating 2 meals. I'm eating my metabolic meals, and I'm also eating like some brisket as well. So
okay,
I've been burning up calories. I can eat some barbecue.
How is your weight right now?
I haven't checked in a while, man. I'm usually the same. I'm 190, 195. So for me, this time I'm gonna try to go out there a little lighter and see how I feel, during fight week. So I'm gonna try to go out as 180, 185.
We've all been watching Rory for the last couple of years fight. He kind of seems to have that same lackadaisical style, when he fights. But then all of a sudden against Shields, he had that same kind of style and loses a split decision. He has that same kind of style and he ends up having. He tries to change up a little bit, but he doesn't change up smart. He doesn't change up right, and so he's not really a huge fan favorite. He's having a tough time coming back through. What do you think Rory's going to try to do differently against you? Because you're so explosive and so powerful. He can't have that same kind of style. He just stands around and does nothing. He's going to get cracked.
I think Roy's going to try to contain me. The fighter that is the most experienced and that has the most success is the person that really lets go and let everybody have it. And I think that's the guy that I'm going to be on that night. I think he is going to really try to stay away from my right hand, avoid takedowns. I think he's going to try to keep a long range of your fight. But he might want to mix it up. There's been fights where he's tried to mix it up. I haven't seen him do that with guys that he would consider like power punchers. So I'm kind of interested to see which Rory MacDonald we actually get. But we prepare for several different versions of Rory, and I think whichever one he shows out, I think we'll be prepared to take out.
I was saying Jake Shields split decision loss, but that was actually you had that loss to Jake in that split decision. He lost to Robbie Lawler by split when he tried to change up his style. And Lawler just kind of hung out and waited a little bit and ended up getting the victory. But that fight could have went either way. Unlike your fight with Jake, I kind of thought you won that fight with Jake, even though the judges didn't agree. Do you think that Rory tries to sit on the decision? He tries to wait it out and tries to win every round knowing he's going to win a decision? Because I really haven't seen him finish anybody since back when he fought Che Mills. And that was the beginning, I think, of 2012. So it's been a long time since Rory's finished anybody. Do you feel like he sits on a decision and tries to ride out and win the judges' favor?
I think he tried to, stay in the sport for a long time. You watch a lot of boxers that really try to take hardly any damage. They try to be precise. They try to, hit you with point strikes and make sure they don't endure any punishment. So I think he's just trying to win the fight. I think this fight has a little bit more at stake. I think he knows that, the winner of this fight can potentially be pushing for a world title. So I think he's going to try to come out, full blazing. Every time he's fought in Canada, the ones I've seen, he's came out super emotional, wanting to put on a show for his crowd. So I'm expecting he has a little bit more fire lit up underneath him. But, I think when guys come after me like that, that's when I fight the best. So I actually embrace that type of fight if that's the one that he wants to do.
How much damage have you actually taken in fights? Because you talk about some guys try to point fight and not get hurt, but you don't seem to take that much damage either because you're swinging every time you step in, the guy's almost falling down.
Yeah, I've only had 1 or 2 fights where I've, it's either been like a super long fight. Like I fought Nate Coy and I feel like it was the longest fight on earth. And, obviously me and Nate Marco went at it and he got the better of me in that fight. But outside of those 2 bouts, I really don't take a ton of damage myself. I try to, be dynamic. I try to mix up my different attacks that I use. And I think just a threat that I might take you down, that I might punch you, that I might explode on you, I think that makes my opponents think twice about what they're going to do. So I want to use that in my favor and just keep using it each time.
It seems like a lot of you, like you just said, a lot of your opponents kind of pick their shots against you because they're worried about you jumping underneath them or coming over the top of them. Do you feel like that your style takes away a lot of guys' power so they can't hit you hard even if they want to because they know that you're going to be able to move so quickly?
Yeah, I think, I've been working on my timing quite a bit with striking and just incorporating a lot more wrestling and live wrestling in my training. So when guys really build up and they show the hard punch they're trying to throw, I'm able to see that and I'm able to get underneath them and take them down. I had, spent 5 or 6 fights where I didn't take any takedowns. Carlos Condon is the first fight since I cannot even remember. I've never tried to take somebody down in the UFC beyond that. So I wanted to not abandon my background and really bring my wrestling back out. So now it's just a combination of having an equal balance of all, using striking, using wrestling, using defense, using, timing punches, and also using power punches. So me putting those things together, just great time in a great camp. I think, I'll be the best in the world. It's going to be very hard to beat me when I'm moving forward and I'm, rolling on all cylinders.
One last question before we get out of here. They announced a little bit ago Matt Brown and Robbie Lawler getting ready to fight. Who do you think is going to pull that fight off? And stylistically, of the two guys, who would you like to face between those two? Who would you rather see win that you'd be able to face later on?
I want to see Robbie win all day. He's a friend of mine and a teammate. I think he'll get the job done. I think Matt Brown's a tough guy. He's showing a lot of heart. He's on a great winning streak. But to be honest, none of those wins are against top 10 opponents. I think you go from fighting outside of the top 10 opponents to going to fighting the number one welterweight. I think it's a big jump in competition. I think Robbie has a ton of experience. He's game. He got a great chin. He got a lot of power. And if he wants to wrestle a little bit, I think in this bout, Robbie actually has a better wrestling. So I think he's a favorite. But to be honest, man, I'm really just focused on Rory. That fight's after mine. I'll be at that fight. It's in San Jose. Strikeforce is where I started, and that's where the base of Strikeforce is. So as a fan, and just to show tribute to my fans, I'll be at the fight watching. But really, I'm rooting for Robbie, and I'm not worried too much about what happens after that. I got a tough task ahead of me, and I'm focused on Rory MacDonald.
It does raise an interesting problem here later that I'm not going to ask you about. We're not going to get into it. I don't want to put it out there right now. But Lawler wins, then he fights Hendricks, and Lawler wins that. And very soon, you two are going to have to face each other because he'll be the champ.
Yeah,
you can't turn it down.
If Lawler beats Hendricks, then shit, we all going to be on ice because they're going to do the match again. Because if Hendricks beat him and Lawler beat him, they're going to do a trilogy. So there's going to be some time for everybody to sit around and maybe we'll see another bout in between. But I just believe that performance speaks overall. I think I can go out there and put on the type of performance as Rory MacDonald, where these guys might get the title shot, but they won't get it before me. I think I'll put on a type of show and a performance that is without a doubt I'm the next guy that should be fighting for the world title. I beat the number 2 guy in Carlos Condon. I beat the number 2 guy in Rory MacDonald. I knocked out Koscheck right before then. I should fight for the world title. So I think that's what my goal is, to focus on the performance and then just, pray and put it in God's hands that everything falls into place.
I really think if you knock out Rory MacDonald in this one, you're next in line without having to have another title shot, without having to have another fight before you get to the title shot. But obviously, like you said, if Lawler wins in the title shot, they're going to do the rubber match. It's just how they work. But if you go to a decision, even though if you win you beat his ass, 10-8 every single round, and it's a decision, they'll find an excuse to kind of, no, we got to give Tyron one more fight. They'll find a way to kind of put you back one more. But I think you're the next guy in line. I really do. I think you're number 2 behind Lawler. Lawler's the number 1 contender after this fight with Brown. I think you're number 2 right behind him. And I would love to see that fight between you and Lawler. Unfortunately, you guys are friends and teammates, and so it makes me a little crazy in the heart to see you guys have to go after it if he's the champion, you're coming up to try and take his title. But this fight with Rory is very
me and Robbie are friends and we're businessmen, and we haven't crossed that road yet because we haven't had to. But we talk to each other very candidly. We talk to Dan Lambert from American Top Team very candidly. We don't have to talk about fighting each other because we're not our next line of opponents. And really, to be honest, if I can avoid fighting Robbie or any of my teammates, I'm going to do that. But if it comes down to a world title, me and Robbie will sit and talk about it, and we'll see what we both are comfortable with. I won't put something out before I talk to him, and he won't do the same thing. So I think we'll give each other that respect. One, to achieve greatness and be a world champion, but also two, just a notification that, hey, they're talking about me fighting you. What do you think about this? Are you okay with it? Do you want to just say, hey, we're not going to do it? Do you want to say we're going to do it? I think that's what we're going to do as friends. And, when we get to that bridge, if we get to that bridge, I think we'll take it the best way when we get there.
Perfect. That's Tyron Woodley getting ready to face off with Rory MacDonald up here in UFC 174 in Vancouver. Tyron, I'll actually be there. I'm working for Canada this trip, so I'll see you up there.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Take care, bud.
All right.